subtract my age from the mileage on my this car to drive to work to pay for this car, buy this car to drive to work.
Welcome to Yellow Brick Road. I am Jordan, and today I am going to do a video where I'm attempting to help an Andrew Yang fan understand what credible Bernie fans might say, about Andrew Yang. But first, please consider donating to Devon's Journey to Recovery. The GoFundMe link is down there in the description box. Click that link, read the story, check out the other donations. Someone left like $200. Goddamn, son. Donate. None of the money goes to us. It goes to Devon to help her pay for her medical bills because we don't have free healthcare in this country. So please donate. Devon's Journey to Recovery. GoFundMe link down there. All right. So the video I'm going over is from Paget Kagy. I think that's how you say her name. The title of the video is hashtag Yang Gang versus hashtag Bernie Bros Unpacked. So she's going to basically analyze, I guess, the difference between the fans of Andrew Yang and the fans of Bernie Sanders. And I'm going to try to help her out because I don't know if she does a great job. So here we go. Yeah.
Hey guys, I am back. Yes, I am still out of town. So after The Hill, did that piece on Andrew Yang firing back at Bernie and his federal jobs guarantee, there was some activity on Twitter that I kind of saw between Bernie bros. I mean, is there a more politically correct way of describing Bernie supporters other than Bernie bros or Bernie supporters? I don't know. If there is, can you guys let me know? Because I feel kind of bad saying Bernie bros if that is pejorative. Anyway, there was some fights that broke out, I guess, or fights between some Bernie bros and some Yang gang. And it just made me think, I mean, some of it is actually kind of funny, but it just made me think about the differences between Bernie supporters and Yang supporters. And obviously you guys know I so appreciate the Yang gang. Like it's the best online community I think I have ever seen, like ever in the history of the internet.
I think furries win that. What's better than, guys dressing up in mascot outfits and going to random sex orgies? Yeah, furries win. Sorry.
Potentially. But I just thought it would be kind of fun to highlight some of the differences for you guys. If I'm sure you guys have already noticed them or, you already kind of know what these things are. First of all, I want to shout out to Crystal Ball from The Hill because she vocalized her frustration on Yang not getting mainstream media coverage. And I will link that discussion in the description below. But it's really cool. I don't know if she is officially Yang Gang. Like, can someone confirm that for me? Or if you have a link to where it's clear that she supports Andrew Yang, then definitely let me know and leave it below because I really like her. I think she makes a lot of sense like Yang, and she's just a very, she's a very fierce, intelligent woman, and I like that. So,
yeah, I don't think she's a Yang supporter. I think she's just looking out for people who are being either misrepresented or ostracized or just ignored completely. So you'll see her cover Tulsi Gabbard, Andrew Yang, the smears against Bernie Sanders, and on and so forth. I don't think she's a Yang supporter. I think she's probably a Bernie supporter, if anyone. Also, the weird fangirl things that you're sprinkling in of she makes a lot of sense, like Andrew Yang. It's like, all right. Logic and math. Not quite feeling that. I think there's more to a human being than that, but let's continue.
Yeah, there was a lot of heat between Yang supporters and Bernie supporters, and I think it's interesting to unpack why. I think there's a lot of frustration from Bernie supporters in general toward Yang Gang in particular, and I just kind of wanted to list some of the reasons why I think that is. Number one, I think that a lot of Bernie supporters think that Yang Gang have basically taken away a certain percentage of, Bernie's supporter base, and basically are weakening his campaign and weakening his supporter base. So I think that's number one, and that's understandable, right? A lot of us are ex-Bernie supporters. Number two,
All right, so her number one, that Yang is pulling supporters from Bernie Sanders. I would say, yeah, I agree with that. That's possible. Not saying that's the biggest thing. I don't think he's the biggest winner in the sense of straggling former Bernie supporters. And that's more in line with Tulsi Gabbard, if anyone. I think Yang pulls a lot of ex-Trump guys, the younger Republican types, Libertarian, conservative types. I think he's pulling support from there, as is Tulsi Gabbard. But as far as Bernie supporters that are, falling away from him, I would think Tulsi wins that one. So her reason one is not that great. Let's move on to number two.
I think that a lot of them feel very crushed because of the defeat in 2016. I know that I did, and I think they were thinking that this was an opportunity for Bernie, finally, but I think it's important to remember that this isn't like picking a sports team. Like, if you have a sports team from your hometown that isn't doing so well, you stick with them through thick and thin, no matter how many defeats they have. But this is like our presidential candidate. Like, this is our president that we're talking about here. This isn't a sports team. It's not a loyalty competition. This is about who is the best person, who is the most fit person to lead our country.
Now, that's a decent point. Talking about fanboys and fangirls. I happen to think she's an Andrew Yang fangirl, meaning they pick their candidates and they support them like sports teams almost. Not really, kind of overlooking some of the faults of them. Bernie definitely has those, but the thing is, he usually has, as far as domestic policy, he's usually at the top or near the top in progressives' minds. So it'd be hard to tell if they're fanboys or they really just look at the policy and they're like, how are you going to compare Yang to these policies he has here, these overhauling policies? Not, baby steps towards something, but this changes things from here on out. So, once again, number two, a little shaky. A little shaky there. All right, let's move on to number three.
And finally, number three, this is obviously a little biased, but I personally believe, as an ex-Bernie supporter, that a lot of Bernie supporters feel as though Yang just does have better policies, and it frustrates them, because they see truth in it, but they don't want to let go of Bernie Sanders, and they don't want to give up on him. And there's a part of me that kind of admires that, and then a part of me that's like, okay, you guys, like, you need to grow up a little bit, you need to mature a little bit.
And number three. Bernie supporters are jealous of Andrew Yang's policy because it's so good. That might be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. As far as like Bernie supporters that I hear about, now I understand there's crazies on all sides here, but the ones that, the majority of people I'm hearing, as far as Bernie supporters, either they don't talk much about Yang, or they truly consider Bernie's policy to be better. If they thought Yang's policy was on par with Bernie Sanders, they'd be pushing him up as well. Just like I would think most Bernie supporters push Tulsi up as well. So that's probably one of the worst ones I've heard or ever heard in support of Andrew Yang, is that they're jealous of Yang's policy. The UBI, I like that policy, but he doesn't have overhauling policy like Medicare for All or Bernie's Green New Deal, or what else does he have? Forgiving student loan debt free college. I mean, I would think Bernie's policy just, it'll dwarf Yang's shit. That's just what it looks like. So that's just a bad answer. That to me seems like someone coming up with an excuse to why people don't just gravitate to Andrew Yang for some reason. I don't think it's because they're jealous of Yang's policy or something like that. Whatever. Anyways, here we go.
Basically, the Hill, Andrew's response to Bernie Sanders' federal jobs guarantee, I think it really, it really put salt on the wound for them because they realized, wait, Yang actually does have a point. I think that's one of the reasons why, because it forced them to see the holes in Bernie's federal jobs guarantee. One of the things.
Well, first of all, that's a recent thing. That's a pretty recent thing, the Bernie Sanders crystal ball interview and the Andrew Yang response to a question about automation, that Bernie was asked. So, okay, maybe you're just speaking recently, but to say that one thing just makes, oh, we're jealous now. We're upset that Yang's policy is so good, that this UBI is so good, as opposed to the jobs guarantee, that we're gonna pick Bernie in spite of Yang because he's our guy, or whatever. That's really, zooming into this one particular topic and incident and saying that they're jealous of Yang's policy. This is one thing. With Bernie's shit answer of people just want to work. I mean, if you take Bernie's Green New Deal and all the things he has there, including the jobs guarantee part, clean that up a bit. I think there's some holes there in the sense of, you heard Bernie's response of, people want to work. They want to feel like they're contributing. So that's why my jobs guarantee is better than the UBI. And everyone knows, that's fucking bullshit. That's bullshit. That's campaigning. That's trying to put his policy above Yang's policy in regards to the UBI in particular. That's the only thing he has to fight with Yang about. Everything else, Bernie seems like a clear winner in people's eyes. Everything else, except for that little portion. So, yeah. And that's just a poor diagnosis by her. Very, very poor diagnosis, which makes me think she's a fangirl. If you think they're just jealous. They're just jealous. They don't have the candidate with the real ideas. It's like, nah, Bernie, sort of sweeps Yang, except for this little slice here. And I do like the UBI, and I'm not shitting on Yang really, but let's be real here. He's for more for a public option rather than Medicare for all, which gives room to the private insurance companies to, reverse whatever Yang might do, or to at least stymie it. And you have Bernie's been doing more about foreign policy as far as talking about it. He's still nowhere near where he should be. They both buy the Russia bullshit. Andrew Yang's not sure about free college. Bernie's very sure about it. I'm not sure about Yang's student debt ideas, but either way, it's either you catch up to Bernie or you're in second place and below when it comes to clearing the student debt, because he just wants to clear it completely. Right? Elizabeth Warren takes the half step of, whatever, $50,000, relief. So it's Yang catching up to Bernie in most of this, except for this one little thing. Let's just be real about it. Not saying I support either one, I'm just looking at the fucking policy itself. One seems to help more people than the other. One seems like as far as UBI, that'd be a good supplement to all of the other overwhelmingly helpful policies, I think. that Bernie might have, at least on paper, the concept on paper. I'm willing to argue about it. Alright, I guess let's continue. If it gets stupid, I'll just cut it off. Be real.
Things I find hilarious is their main argument against Andrew Yang is one, that he is a joke candidate, which is completely subjective.
Alright, so she's going over why Bernie fans don't like Andrew Yang, or why he's not a viable candidate, which I haven't really heard much of. I usually hear, oh, I like Yang, I like this idea, but, you know, he needs to go a little further, or he needs more than just a UBI. So, alright, Bernie fans calling Andrew Yang a joke candidate. Haven't heard much of that. Not really. Maybe dum-dums on Twitter. But, once again, you have to sort of exclude the fanboys, right? And go right to the core of his base, because it is a large base for Bernie Sanders. It's a lot of people. So you can't just take the few amount of dum-dums that argue, you know, without any points. So that, her number one is a throwaway already.
Two, that he is polling lower, like no duh, like Bernie has been in the spotlight and has been a politician for decades.
Him polling low, once again, they're already supporting Bernie Sanders. If they bring that up, if they bring his polling numbers up, then they're probably a dipshit robot like David Pakman, who's not arguing the ideas. All right? If they bring up polling, then they're not arguing ideas, and they're dumbasses. Let's be real. Plus, Bernie was polling low when he went against Hillary Clinton, I believe. I've heard. So, number two, once again, I'm not hearing legitimate Bernie supporters saying that about Yang.
So that one I kind of just reject. That's not really an argument. And then my favorite one, and this one is used the most because they can't actually attack any of Yang's policies.
This one is used the most because, you know, Yang's policies are so good that you can't argue against them. Here it is.
Is that Bernie would get more done in the White House.
Now people, I'm thinking Bernie supporters believe that, but I don't think that's the argument they go to. I don't think that's their number one argument. I'm thinking what I hear most, all right, you have the Sam Cedars, probably David Pakmans and TYTs and those types who are saying Andrew Yang is a libertarian Trojan horse, or, you know, that stupid shit. That's one of the ones I hear a lot. You'll hear someone like, you know, maybe more in the Jimmy Dore, Tim Black, Jamal Thomas lane, that'll say something like, oh, well, is he going to get rid of all these, you know, welfare programs? Because UBI sounds good for someone who's starting their own business, or who already is a business person, or who's a college kid and wants $1,000 in his pocket every month. But what about the people who are really struggling? Does this help them really? And if you eliminate those social programs, it's like, is it really going to hurt them? So I think those are the main arguments I hear, and she hasn't brought that up. I don't think she is going to bring those up, because those might be legitimate concerns. Well, not the libertarian Trojan horse. I don't give a shit about that. And that's a stupid reason to criticize Yang, right? Stop, like, forget the political bubbles and put them in look at his ideas. Do you like his ideas or not? Straight up. Not try to read his motives from 1,000 miles away. Or bring him on one of your shows. Talk to him. I'm sure you have enough, you know, followers and enough pull to get an interview with him. Dore did it. All right.
Now, if you haven't noticed, none of these have to do with policies. None of these are really objective, except
the ones I said did. they definitely have, a lot to do with policy. It's just conveniently, you just never came across those ideas, I guess. All right, I might end this here. I think she goes over like, tweets and fans arguing, and she talks about how awesome the Yang Gang crew is, how nice they are, the nicest people in the world. Meanwhile, you could probably read some of our comment sections and be like, I don't know about that. I don't know. All we did was point out, hey, man, maybe Andrew Yang, buys into their whole Russia story, and I don't know, he might, prosecute Julian Assange with like, and I hear people arguing like, oh, well, prosecuting Julian Assange, like he just gets a fair trial. Do we really think that's going to happen? Do we really think it's going to be fair? I don't think so. So that's why people are so against Julian Assange being extradited to the U.S. It's because they don't think it's fair in the first place. That's why they're arguing that. They're not arguing against, him seeing sitting in front of it in a real trial, a real fair trial. They don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. John Kiriakou doesn't think that's going to happen. A guy who went through that process. Has that been happening for Chelsea Manning? Imagine what they'll do to Assange. So that's why people criticize Yang's answer on that. But, Yang fans are the best. They are the nicest people on the planet. Very nice people. Anyways, alright, that's it from me. I'll link the video so you can check out the rest of it. Maybe I missed something. Maybe I didn't, but whatever. Please subscribe if you like. Don't forget to subscribe to our Yellbro Live channel. Link in the description box, because we are banned on this channel for 90 days from live streaming. So when the debates happen or any type of event happens, we'll be over there. Don't be scared off, because it's going to be mixed in with sports shit that's happening. That's usually our sports channel, but if we're banned from going live here, we'll swing to that channel instead. So subscribe here, subscribe there, if you feel like. Comment, agree, disagree. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of disagreement that tell me Andrew Yang's the best. I'm like, I didn't even bring that up, really. I'm just bringing up what people's perspectives are on this. If you're going to address real criticisms rather than, what a few dumb people might say. Or she could be just making that all up in order to place Andrew Yang up here, or Andrew Yang fans up here. It does help get views, man. I could have been dick riding Yang the whole time and boosting numbers. I could have been dick riding Tulsi the whole time. Boost numbers, Bernie, whoever. Bernie won't get you as much, but I could have did it for Trump. Could have been dick riding Trump. Just numbers go up when you do shit like that. Just ask Tim Pool. Also, please donate. Devon's Journey to Recovery, the GoFundMe link is down there in the description box. We do not make a single cent off that. We didn't even start it. One of our subscribers did for his wife, they have to pay medical bills, and any amount of money will help them out. Even $1. We're not going to Stefan Molyneux you and fucking insult you for donating $1. Any amount will help. So please donate. Devon's Journey to Recovery. GoFundMe link down there. And with all that said, give this video a thumbs down.
Say you wanna get in, and then you wanna get out. When you get the money to buy yourself a castle, how will you wear your leisure? You zip it back and front on the fence together. Weekends and